tonight, because what I hope you get out of this is that you'll hear from individuals who are running these businesses every day. Again, the successes, the challenges, and the outlook. So I want
2010, I think it's going to be a catapulting year for CVE. We've spent the last 2 years reshaping, rethinking, reorganizing the agency in a way that makes sense. Similar to Rubicon Experience, we 25 years ago started this thing that we thought it was a social program, and then we started doing businesses, and then we started employing people, and 25 years later, we ended up with a magical cloud where people were coming into our programs, something was happening, and then they were leaving with successful placements, and 71% of people still employed 2 years after graduating from our programs. So it was a very successful program, great legacy, but what happened inside that cloud was very foggy. So we spent 2 years really looking at every single detail of what we do, and compartmentalizing and putting everything in the right bucket. So we started rethinking the way we do things, and one of the challenges, and speaking about challenges, was to not let the ball drop as we were doing this, because our clients still needed services and we still needed to run our businesses, but we were in the process of transitioning everything and revamping the whole organization in a way that we could clearly distinguish what portion of it was program, what portion of it was business, and simultaneously to start thinking about how to incorporate that other P for planet in the triple bottom line. So we are coming to the tail end of that process where we now feel that it's very clear what's business, what's program, and we're building the relationships so they're not too far apart, and that we really understand if we're running a janitorial company, then we're concerned about providing a great janitorial service. And if we're providing a wellness and employment service, then we're concerned about really providing an amazing wellness and employment service. And in that process, we also had the opportunity to rethink the way we approach our program, because for the longest time, we've been thinking about our program as an employment machine. We were thinking about CVE as a provider for employment, as a catalyst for employment, but in reality, we realized that our main concern was not necessarily employment, it was wellness. So we started thinking about employment as a catalyst for wellness, but we started considering all of the other aspects that a person need to feel well. So instead of just thinking about employment as employment, we started thinking about wellness, and we started including different elements that have the same aim toward employment. So we started providing services, or we kept on providing services that were training programs, that were employment programs, that were job preparation, job readiness program. But we incorporated a huge amount of services that relate more to wellness, because it's really hard for someone to continue working and focus on their barriers and overcoming those barriers to employment if they don't have a place to live, or if they don't have food on their table. So it really isn't only about employment. It's really about employment being a catalyst for wellness, and that's the way we see our programs right now. So we spent 2 years working on how could we add and inject all of the different components that will help a person be successful in our programs and really come to a place in their lives where they are not only employed, but they are well and they feel well. And how can we leverage on our own businesses and the opportunity of being both the trainer and the employer to develop best practice on how to work with people with disabilities. And we have been very careful about not letting the ball drop, because this was a very intense process. We had to revamp everything. We had to revisit our contracts. We had to reorganize our layout for the office. We had to retrain our staff. We had to implement 3 different systems IT systems. We replaced our database for our client management. We replaced our general ledger system. We replaced our time tracking system. I mean, it was a huge process of revamping the organization in a way that things made sense. But that allowed us, that gave us the opportunity to really focus on what we're doing, what is the purpose of having this janitorial company, and we established relationships that make sense. So the way we envision our companies now is we have a program, which is our nonprofit operations, and keep in mind that they all operate under the same legal structure, which is a 501(c)(3). But we think about our organizations, our for-profit organizations, as for-profit organizations, as social enterprises with a triple bottom line, and we're now in the process of developing all of these metrics that will give us the measurements for success in our for-profit social enterprises. In the program side of the house, we really focused on wellness, and we did a lot of research. We looked at a lot of different best practices, evidence-based models, and we based all of our system in the recovery model, which has 3 different elements to it, and all of our provision of services is measured on those 10 elements of the recovery model. And they relate to hope, they relate to self-direction, they relate to respect. So things that are more perceptional things that the clients who are experiencing the services, we go and ask them. And we keep every 3 months we're running checkpoints on how are we doing? How are you feeling after 3 months of receiving services? Are you feeling more hopeful? Are you feeling less hopeful? Do you feel like you are treated with respect? Do you feel like you're treated with less respect? So we established those metrics based on the recovery model for the program side of the house, and that process was really helpful. It really allows our staff to understand what they're doing better, because the lines are drawn and people have jobs that begin and end, instead of running around doing training and being a supervisor and running a business and doing many things at the same time, which was the old model where we were thinking that people needed to be everything at the same time. So now we're giving people specific areas of responsibilities that allows them to be focus on what they're doing, to feel empowered and knowledgeable about their areas of responsibility. It's clear. It's a clearer message to our board. Our board can understand what we're doing a little better. They can help us more with their different backgrounds and expertise. It sends a clearer message for marketing, so we can go out there and talk about IME, and we rebranded all of our organizations. So now we have a different brand for each organization, which communicates a clearer message to the marketplace. Because now when someone's looking for a janitorial service, they're not looking for CVE, they're looking for IME, which is the janitorial company. And if someone's looking for catering services, they're not looking for CVE, because CVE does wellness through employment. They're looking for Fuzion. So it really enabled us to set the platform for growth and really focus on how can we leverage on what we already have and rethink the way we're doing things to grow each of those entities and focus on the individual assets that they represent to our clients ultimately. Because each of the organizations not only provide the training, but we are also able to hire, to provide long-term employment opportunities for our clients when they graduate from the CVE portion. Then they can go into our businesses if there's jobs available.